2019 is upon us, and what a year 2018 was for me and this channel. I'll save my thanks for the end of the video, but to celebrate the new year, I wanted to break down the most requested topic from all of you. What is the best explosive in Fortnite? For this video, I'm going to focus purely on the 3 explosive weapons currently in the game. Maybe in the future we'll discuss other explosives such as dynamite and hand grenades, but for now I'm going to simply focus on the weapons because they're more easily found throughout the course of an entire match. To start out, let's take a look at the in-game stats for these 3 weapons. We have the grenade launcher, the quad launcher, and the rocket launcher. As you can see, the rocket launcher has the highest damage to opponents at 121 for the gold variant, followed by the grenade launcher at 110, and coming in last we have the quad launcher at 84. We'll go over the fire rates in a minute, but other things to notice right away are the magazine sizes, the rocket launcher only having 1 in the magazine, the quad launcher having 4, and the grenade launcher having 6. And the final thing to notice are the reload speeds, with the rocket launcher having the fastest, followed closely by the grenade launcher, and lastly the quad launcher, which is nearly 2 times slower than the rocket launcher. Now let's circle back to the fire rate of these weapons. Both the grenade and quad launcher fire 1 rocket per second, while the rocket launcher fires 1 rocket every 2.5 seconds. I'm not sure why they actually have a fire rate listed for the rocket launcher, because you can't actually fire more than 1 rocket without reloading. So the fire rate of the rocket launcher is actually simply the reload speed of the rocket launcher. Now let's dive into the information that isn't stated in game. When it comes to draw speed, the grenade launcher is the fastest at 33 hundredths of a second, while the rocket and quad launcher are significantly slower at about 63 hundredths of a second. When it comes to the travel speed of the rocket itself, or in the case of the grenade launcher, the grenade, the quad launcher is the fastest, going 1 plank or 5 meters in about 16 hundredths of a second. Then the grenade launcher goes 5 meters in about 2/10 of a second, and then last we have the rocket launcher, which travels 5 meters or 1 plank in about 25 hundredths of a second. Now for obvious reasons, in this category the quad launcher has some advantages. It's able to fire faster, meaning that it's more likely for you to sneak in a bullet before an opponent can react if you catch them off guard. But the slower travel speed of the rocket launcher actually has its own advantages. If you watched my video talking about the hand cannon, you'll remember me mentioning one of my favorite plays where you shoot a rocket, quickly switch to a hand cannon, and can then destroy an opponent's build a split second before the rocket hits. This play is significantly easier to do with the rocket launcher due to the slower travel speed of the rocket itself. I was able to be 3 planks away, also known as 15 meters, and be able to pull off this maneuver with a rocket launcher. It required twice the distance to be able to do that with a quad launcher. This is important because for more situations than not, you're probably going to be up close when someone tries to turtle defensively. So being able to be that much closer to someone with a rocket launcher makes all the difference. And remember that the rocket launcher is also doing 37 more damage per shot than the quad launcher. One thing I want to mention, and this is something that is just good to know in general, is that immediately after you switch a weapon in Fortnite, if you hold down the trigger, then the weapon will automatically fire once the gun is ready to fire. So when pulling off this move and wanting to be as successful as possible, you want to fire the rocket, press the button required to switch weapons, and then immediately hold down the fire button so that when the weapon is ready to fire, it will do so instantaneously, removing any latency caused by your personal reaction time. Make sure you do those steps in that exact order, because if you simply fire your rocket and continuously hold down the fire button, then when you switch to another weapon, it simply won't fire. You have to make sure that you only press the fire button immediately after you have pressed the button to switch to another weapon. Now what about the grenade launcher? Well, you can make the same play with the grenade launcher as you can with the other 2 weapons. The difference with the grenade launcher is that it does have a 3-second detonation period, so immediately after firing the weapon it takes 3 seconds before the grenade will actually explode. And that detonation period is the same regardless of whether you fire straight into the air or you fire straight down into the ground. This is one of the biggest downsides of the grenade launcher, but also kind of an advantage of the grenade launcher. A common strategy used by very good players is to fire the grenade launcher high enough that when the grenade reaches the ground, it explodes instantly. thus removing all of the problems of having the grenade bounce around and not knowing where the grenade is actually going to go. Now I could sit here and tell you that in order to have the grenade blow up right before it hits the ground, you have to be aiming up at 70 degrees when on a flat plane with a southeast wind of 10 miles per hour, but let's be honest, that isn't really going to help you whatsoever. It takes a lot of repetition to get down, and the only way to truly master it is to practice a lot. And even if you practice a ton, oftentimes it simply comes down to trial and error during an engagement. And with only being able to hold 12 rockets in reserve, those trials can end up costing you a lot of potential damage. Now before we come to any conclusions, I want to give one final piece of information, and that is how far the explosive damage reaches on these three weapons. From my testing, and I tested this a lot, the rocket launcher has the farthest reach, being able to consistently do damage from anywhere 5 meters and closer, while both the quad launcher and grenade launcher seem to have a closer explosive radius similar to that of 4 meters and closer. So it's not an insane difference, but considering the size of the explosive area to begin with, that 1 meter can make a significant impact. So what does all of this information mean? Well, the rocket launcher does the most damage, has the largest blast radius, but is also only able to fire 1 bullet before having to reload. The quad launcher travels faster, has a larger magazine size of 4, which means it can fire 3 rockets before the RPG can even fire its second rocket, but the quad launcher does have a smaller blast radius. And finally we have the grenade launcher, which takes the longest to detonate, but has the largest magazine and reloads very quickly. For me personally, I rank the grenade launcher last. It is by no means a terrible weapon. It's one of the best weapons in fact at destroying a large amount of opponents' builds, especially very quickly, and often can give you easy kills in larger playlists such as squads or 50 versus 50 modes. But the lack of precision is something that I'm just personally not a fan of. So quad launcher versus rocket launcher. For me personally, I would go with the rocket launcher. I like making every single shot mean something. That's why I like the pump shotgun, and that's why I like the hand cannon. My playstyle is all about making that 1 bullet or rocket count every single time. And that's not to say that that isn't possible with the quad launcher, because it definitely is. But the slower travel speed of the rocket launcher allows for a more tactical advantage to every rocket, which is something I personally love. It also means having more ammo long term, since it's significantly easier to go through ammo with both the quad and grenade launchers compared to the rocket launcher. But that is just my personal opinion. As always, my goal is to give you guys the information you need so you can apply it to your own personal playstyle and come to your own conclusion as to which weapon is best for you. There are a ton of you who prefer the quad launcher over the rocket launcher, but one thing to keep in mind is that throughout the course of a battle royale game, you're not always going to have the exact weapon you want. So hopefully the information I told you guys throughout this video can be applied for every time you have that specific weapon. If you have the quad launcher, remember that the rocket actually travels faster and has a smaller blast radius, so you're going to want to be up close and personal. If you're using the rocket launcher, you want to be a little bit further back, because although the travel speed of the rocket is slower, the blast radius is larger, meaning that if you get too close, you'll end up damaging yourself. But when you do have the luxury to be able to choose which weapon you personally prefer, ultimately it comes down to your own playstyle and how you want to use each weapon. Anyway, that is all that I have for this video. I hope that you found it informative. Real quick, I just wanted to say thank you all for an amazing 2018. It was a monumental year for me and this channel, and I truly couldn't have done it without all of your support. Every video has so many positive comments, and I hope to continue providing you guys better and better content as 2019 unfolds. There are some big things I have in the works for 2019 that you're all going to enjoy, and I can't wait to show you more soon. But for now, if you're new here and would like to subscribe to see more content like this, feel free to do so. Thank you to all of you who made it to this point in the video. I truly do appreciate it, and I'll catch you all in my next video.